Welcome back. I apologise for that last video. I put a red filter over it. Didn't come out so good. Actually, it was quite bloody disastrous, if you want the truth. So, lessons learnt. Well, I've been reminded in a comment, and rightfully so, I might add, that I had misjudged the weight ratios of both trucks, because that has to include any extras that you put in, like the interior of the truck and of course accessories on the outside of the truck. Now, I'd already considered the interior in that equation. I had already considered that, but I completely forgot that I had changed my front bumper for a real heavy blighter. So I'm now putting the feelers out for an aftermarket aluminium front bumper to take some of that weight off the front, which is quite substantial, I might add. It ain't light, so we can get rid of that hopefully, or we'll try and find something else to replace. I just don't like the original bumper that the manufacturers produced. It's rather low to the ground and I don't really want that. So yeah, okay, fair point. I messed up when I didn't consider everything else. I'd considered most of it but not all of it. So with that in mind, I've now decided to put this on an even bigger diet. That side is so easy to pick up, I can almost lift it on my own now, whereas before it took two, and we struggled like crazy just to manoeuvre this around, because I built this out the front, if you remember. So I've very carefully set that blade up to skim and cut this out, which is what it's now doing. I'm left with the fiberglass underneath. So I'll demonstrate when I've peeled that right back. I've just let my batteries run out, and I'm just debating also whether to take this batten out here, because again we don't need it, at least I don't think we do. Do we? I need to think about this. I'm not cutting into that side at all, but I am putting a row of cupboards in, so actually maybe I will leave that, because this is the outside wall effectively, so we're going to have to put hardboard up against it. So no, I am going to leave that. It's just one of a few that I've left reluctantly. I've got that one over there to peel off as yet. We'll leave all of this mess. There's nothing we can do about that. I was debating about trimming this down, but the wood behind it is so thick that I don't think that little saw can do it. I don't have a lot of power, that thing. It's a great little saw for what it is, but it just doesn't have the power. It even struggles with slightly damp plywood. So we're not going to get into the pros and cons of it, because there's just no point. But what I can say, one pro, is it's very good at setting itself up to really cut thin to the edge. I think there's somebody at my door. The same thing that I did on the roof, I'm going to do on this. I'm going to take as much of this plate off with a circular saw that I can possibly remove, including the removal of that frontage that goes that side and that side, but not that one at the front, because that one at the front is already packed with stuffing. So, and there's a lot of strength in that needs to stay anyway, and then we'll build onto that after. You'll see the damage that we got the other day, because this wasn't sitting, and it's still in. So we need to hurry up and get this roof on, really, and then we need to put a dehumidifier inside this thing. Build a door, shut the door, run the humidifier with a hose running out of the bottle, and I need to get that dried out as fast as we possibly can. So I reckon over the Christmas period I'm going to leave that in there for about a week and not do anything, no videos. I need a break from it anyway, and then go from there. Okay, I'm not giving this saw enough credit. I just cut them down, one of them, and I got 4 pieces with a skim of waste that my dog is currently stupidly chewing up. This is the waste, literally, that's all I got left. out of that, which if you were doing laminate, you could glue that little lot together. So there's my first one. I've kind of decided I will screw that down, because I can access the screws later to pull that out. So I'm going to screw that down first, put another one in there, chop that short, and I'm going to concentrate on this side first in getting the windows set the way I want them set. I don't know, I'm going to do it upside down. It's going to be a bit tricky. I think I might have to turn it the other way up again. So we'll put the ply in, put another set of battens in along the top edge, and curve the wood accordingly so the glass can just go straight over. Before I glass everything up, I will sand this edge down to get it as thin as I possibly can, so as I can glass up to that lip, and then all I've got to do is sand that lip back, and then vice versa on the other bit. So we're going to be going up 12 inches in height to there, and then somehow, and I don't know how at this point, but I've got to get at least one of these big windows in. At least one. I'd like both of them in, but I just don't think that's going to work. I'm happy with one, be overjoyed with two. So I might try and cut the glass window frame down so as it fits in there a lot tidier than my previous way, because what I think is going to happen is I'm going to be cutting into this roof area here and having a batten put in along there with the window at a very steep angle, and then put some plates in there and build a cutaway. That's kind of what I'm thinking is going to happen. I didn't really want to go into the roof, but I might not have an option on that one, but we'll see. First things first, we do need to put that piece of wood in. That looks a bit curved to me, doesn't it? Did we go off shape a little? So that's roughly, now that I've got the piece of wood, yeah, it kicks out a little bit where that stops. So I've marked out the window. I can't put two windows in like I originally wanted to, because the way they're laid out means I'm going to have a lot of wood coming on the inside. Now before, like over there, it didn't really matter too much, but I have now given myself extra leg room in the bed space, and I kind of want to keep it, because I had my doubts to whether I was going to fit or not, and well, by marking it up here, so we're going to cut that line down all the way under here. I'm going to cut this one out here all the way down and under. That gives me a 3-foot gap, and then what we'll do is we'll use this piece as a template here, and we'll draw out 2 miniature bulkheads and then batten up in there, and then we'll screw those to that, and then we'll move on to the rest of the walls. I don't really know what's best to do. I don't know how that window's going to fit at the moment, and I need a bulkhead plate like here at that angle going up with the window hole cut ready. That ain't going to be so easy to do, just because of the way I'm doing things at the moment. But it is all getting glassed up, so it'll be nice and strong, and then I can rip all that wood out after. This has actually starting to put some weight on it again, so we need to remove this regardless. But I also need this wood to stay in good condition, because I want to reuse it for the interior cupboards. The amount of money we paid for that, we're not wasting it. Diesel, what are you doing? What are you doing? Right, let's move on. Okay, I finally finished. Every single piece of wood is loose. Nothing is permanent. Every single one of these can be pulled out from the inside out, so once I've glassed up, I'll have to climb in and unscrew all of the floor beams, take out these corner ones that I put in, and then screwdriver in and yank it. Although I have locked myself in there a little bit. Thinking about it, yeah I have, because I've gone and overlapped. What I should have done was run a beam down there and then cut that ply so it could be peeled back. So it's not going to be an easy thing to remove. One of these is going to get damaged in the removal, but the rest will fall straight out after. The other reason for it is I didn't want to lock everything in. Lock everything in. I didn't want it falling out, so it's locked in, so when I glass it up it can't fall out. So the next thing to do now is to sand all these edges down, top corners, tape the corners up, because there will be gaps, because there's no batten behind it, you see. So I need to tape them all up before I start glassing. Sand that corner, curve it. This is the worst one because we cocked up the square, so I need to check that before I do anything and make sure it is smack on, and I'm too tired now. In fact, I'll check it now and then you can question it later if I don't alter it if it's out, and I suspect it probably is. It's getting late now. Right, how do we do that? Yep, it's out a little bit. A little bit more trimming to do in there with a handsaw, and then push that in. So I'll deal with that tomorrow or Monday, whenever, because I think we've got rain tomorrow. This has given me a mental idea of building this roof. I've always wanted. Oh no, here we go again. That's what I'm waiting for. I've always wanted to sail the Norfolk Broads in a 22-foot canal boat, and you can get them. What have I got sitting here right this minute? There are plans online, you can get them, and I know how to build boats because I'm trained, believe it or not. And what I would probably do, instead of building a mould and spending shed loads of money on GRP and all that, I'd build an initial frame first. Then I would buy wood, strip it across but leave gaps between the strips, quite large gaps, glass the first half up, glass the inside up, or glass the inside up first, then glass the outside up until I've got a substantial amount of glass fibre on. Finish the interior off, put some buoyancy boxes inside as well, and that would be that. And then I could put an inboard diesel, small little single cylinder Lister or Pet or something, with a prop, and go and enjoy the Norfolk Broads. This weather is not being cooperative at all. Anyway, look, corners are going to be like that, and then I shall sand the wood down to the edge, bring the glass over and then tuck it in underneath, and then I'll sand all the way around that area. I mean, the back could do with some more screws, but just to pull that in a little bit maybe, but that gives you the idea. And now the weather is here. Oh, this flipping weather. That's the trouble with working outside with no tilt or cover. You just get wet, simple as that. It's a nuisance. Good morning. Everything is going wrong. The plastic sheet has given out and this thing is soaking. The beams have given out, the Gorilla Glue has got wet and it isn't as waterproof or water resistant as they claim, so that has now given out. I've now got to jump in this thing and try and straighten that out, because if I don't, everything is going to be warped Swinton Composites that I ordered my stuff from. I paid the extra money for next day delivery, which was yesterday morning. They didn't get Swinton Delivery Services, which is DHL, to pick it up until the end of the day, because the update that they had received my parcel came in at approximately around 6ish, so I know it was late getting to them. Thinking that it was going to be overnighted to me. No. I just got a message from DHL that fiberglass matting will not be here until tomorrow. I am very, very, very pissed off at the moment. You stop nipping me. Will you stop nipping me? Well, I'm in a better mood. Will you cut it out? God, bloke sold me this morning, 60 quid. God, if I knew, I'd have realised that, because there's no big companies that, you're doing it again, there's no big companies. Will you stop it? There's no big companies out there anymore that I can find locally that will actually sell me stuff like this. There's one at Manningtree, and I used to buy off them all the while, and then one day I went down there, I hadn't been there a while, new bloke, wouldn't even get off his chair. No, the amount of money you're spending isn't big enough, I'm not getting off my chair, you're not having it, end of story, maybe come back later. I didn't get nowhere then. Spoken to other companies that buy this stuff, and they've all had the same problem. What? All of them. So I'm ringing around yesterday because my order still ain't come. This morning, 3 days now, it's probably next day, 3 days now. And this guy said, well, I've got a spare roll I can sell you, but I don't normally do this. I said, look, I'd be very grateful just for 10 metres of the stuff. Oh no, I ain't breaking it up. If you want it, you'll have to buy the whole lot. I said, yeah, how much? 60 quid. Yeah. If I was to buy that now, close to 100 quid, I think. So, yeah, I gave him 65 quid. I should have given him 70 really, but I was... Anyway, I got back, I rang up the company that was supposed to be supplying me, and it ain't fully on them, is it really? I shouldn't be too aggressive about it and too grumpy. They sent it out in good faith and I haven't received it. It doesn't help me. Look at the weather. Yeah, we've got rain later on today. I've got to get this thing covered. This needs to go on, and I can't wait around for the BS of other companies saying, yeah, we'll do this, when they damn well don't. So... okay, that's the first one. It's not great, but it's good enough. There's 2 layers of 300 on there. I think 2 will be enough. It's more than 450 because it adds up to 600, as you know, which is what I was ordering in the first place. So the bottom half will get a sanding to get it to blend, but the rest of it will just be what it is, you know. So now we've got to do, I'm going to move on to the front next, because that's just a tiny bit more awkward. We're still very much wet. I mean, I had fans on in here overnight, and as you know, that was soaking wet, all that lot, and it's now dry. This is going to get covered up again tonight, so I may very well put the fans in again tonight, because come tomorrow I want to put this sucker on, or Friday, depending on what the weather is. I've still got to do some trimming up on the unit out the front, which I haven't done yet, but it will get done eventually. So all that lot will get sanded in and blended in. That bit's going to be fun. We'll see. Right, it's now 1 o'clock in the afternoon. I've got one more wall to do. So I've got that side done, this one I've just done. It's 2 layers of 300 on each wall, but I will be honest, this stuff must come from China or Pakistan or somewhere like that, because it's a little, how can I put it, the strands are like hit and miss. Some areas are thick, some areas are thin. Not the greatest of material in the world. Don't get me wrong, I'm not complaining, I'm just pointing out the situation. However, I'm really grateful to that chap, because I wouldn't even be this far if it wasn't for him. However, also, my wood is not fully dry, and I've had a few water bleed throughs. A little bit there, and it can't be helped. I'm doing the best I can here with the circumstances I've got. I've got another one over there, another water bleed through there, and one there and one there. What does that mean? Well, it just means water's got on it, resin is not in those strands very well, so if I was to ever sand that area down, it would probably blow through to the strands. Strength wise won't make an iota of difference on this, because it's not a boat, doesn't go through those rigorous stresses. It's just going on the back of a lorry, really, on the back of a van, and be bounced around here and there, so even twisting it should be fine. I'm not worried too much, but here's the thing, right, if it becomes a problem, then the simplest solution is to get the paint off and just lay up more. In fact, I will be honest, right, when we cut the two windows out at the front, I'm going to re-glass over that whole area, so it's going to get a third coat on, so I'll put 450 inside the framework, and then another 300 over the top. The same with this window that's going in, that will get 450 on the inside, and then I'll probably spread 300 each side of that if I can be asked. The doorway's got to be cut out, so we've got to put a frame around this as well, so we're going to be cutting into that piece that I've added, and again, once I put the frame in, there'll be another layer of resin going around all of that just to waterproof that frame up. So it's all going fairly well, and I'm hoping I can get that wood out, because what I forgot to do, I said I was going to do it, but I completely forgot, was to cut a slit in the plywood on this one and a small slit on the batten on the inside on the other one, so as I can snap the wood and peel it, because once I've got one of these out, the rest of them should fall relatively easily. I have a shitty join over on that one, so I will probably start with this one first and work my way around, and I'm hoping to reuse the plywood. The resin's going to stick to it in places. It's going to peel some of the layers of wood off, because the wood itself is rubbish. The glue is rubbish, we know that, we've established that already, but once we've got it off, that will lighten this roof up no end. Morning. Peeled out all that wood as I said I was going to, and that is what we are left with. It's 2 layers of 300. It's a little bit thicker than what the roof is, a little thin in places. That's mainly due to the cheapness of the fibre that I used, because it was not really wound on evenly. So, but the price I paid, the amount I got, I'm quite happy. I mean, that one's the thinnest, but the door is getting in that one. Windows have got to go in. So yeah, next is to turn this over, and just so I don't have to cover it up again, really, because at this point it's now waterproof once I turned it over, and it's still as light as it was before. Watch this. Well, I say as light as it was before, it's a little bit heavier than before, but it's definitely not as heavy as it was when all the wood was in place. So how am I going to stop this from caving in? It's simple. We're going to put a line of polyurethane all the way around where need be. On that side where the awning is, there's going to be cupboards. On this side there's a window and a seating area to go in, and on the front, that bit, there is another window, 2 windows to go in. So when I make those internal frames for the windows, that will stiffen these up and act as little miniature bulkheads. We had one rip there that could do with being glued, and when we put the cover on last night, we had a little bit of disturbance where it came off the wood there. In fact, that pretty much did it all over, but I can't help that. It was a case of get it covered before the rains come, and to be honest, the rains didn't take long after I covered it up. So it's just got to be sanded next. There you go. The only thing I've got to say about it is that extension is extremely delicate. I've got to be so careful. I'd very much like to sand that back and put one more layer on that, but we're just putting weight on it unnecessarily. That on its own with a backing is definitely strong enough for the job it's got to do. As I said to you earlier, once the windows are in, the cupboards are in, you're not going to see it, you're not going to notice it. So we've just got to be very, very, very careful when lifting it out the front, because when we tried to turn this over, it took a few hits. I am going to seal this all on as one. We just need to be so careful. So I'm going to cut some blocks out at a later date, some scrap wood, and put 4 blocks on each corner, and I'm going to scrape a load of fiberglass resin and chop strand mat and make up a type of filler, and then I will take the blocks out, position it, and then run the screws through, and that will be screwed straight on. I'm hoping fiberglass stroke wood, and that should be enough to hold this back, and then we can sand off all the excess. I mean, I should do that really now while I'm in the garden, but like all of this has got to go, and then we can get on with the next phase. Not great, is it? That's what happens when your fiberglass chop strand mat gets wet. And I don't know whether that is, no, I didn't thin that out, so that is just moisture. Still strong enough for this job. That's peeled away. So all that's got to be sanded, and then it's all got to be refilled again with another layer just to build that back up. There's no point doing it here and now. Same here, look. So we've got that to do as well. So, oh, poor old sweat. My glasses are absolutely soaking. Well, I can't exactly see what I'm doing. And I've trimmed. But at the moment I just cut that. But I need to get a jigsaw out and I need to trim that all up properly. But we've taken all of that out. I couldn't get this out, not for love nor money. So that's kind of been left. I mean, I'll stuff it with polyurethane, I'll put a piece of board over the top, that'll be a shelf. I'll put a cupboard in there on the slope, that's somewhere to put toothpaste and stuff. Toilet's going there, you see, and we'll see if we can't get a sink in there somehow. We're getting pretty wet in here and we are starting to go mouldy. Next I will get a sabre saw in here, trim down and run that blade all the way along until I've got rid of that plywood lip, and then after that we're going to stick actually we're going to stick the roof on as soon as we possibly can, because we need it on here. We're going to screw it. Oh my god, that is big. It looks heavier than it really is, alright? Before anyone starts criticising, it really does look heavier than it actually is. 2 of us got that on there just now. Don't get me wrong, it was a bit of a struggle, but we did do it. So it's now got to be screwed and glued in place. It does fit a bit better than what you'll see, and I've been manoeuvring it around. I've got one corner a little wider than the other. So, yeah. Like this one will have to be pulled, in, and then it puts a bulge on that because all the weight is on this side and that side isn't nowhere near as strong as it needs to be. But it is in, it is on, and we have a roof with a hole in it because I went and dropped it. Although there is a few pinprick holes in this anyway. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the drill out in a minute, chuck a couple of screws in just to hold it back so that the wind don't take it, and then I'll get my big plastic sheet and well, pretty much go from there really. See, here's the thing, right? This is what I want people to realise. If this had drop sides and was the roof was a lot lower down, everybody would sit there and say, that don't look that heavy, well done. But because I've already built the sides up, it looks more clumsy than that actually is. That's why it looks heavy. But apart from this side, which is heavy, because it's like doubled up because of the rounds that were going on, even though I have taken out that piece, that's probably heavier than the whole. That one piece there, it represents all of the wood that's on it. Listen to me to try and convince myself. Anyhow. Next thing to do is to get this glued and screwed in place, fill up the holes that I've made, which like that one, that went straight bloody through, that fell over, punched that out. I'm not sure. Yeah, that goes that way. So that needs patching. There's a couple of other little pinprick holes I've noticed. I can't find them now. They're up there somewhere. I think it's at the front, possibly. I saw them in the garden. Where are they? I tell you. This thing is causing me so much raggy stress, it's unbelievable. Let me show you why. Lots of water there. Water. Look at that leaking in. And then you've got a little bit there, so you can see on the bed space, water, lots of water. Oh, and note my newly laid glass fibre dripping on the inside. More water. There, look. Okay, well, the simple solution to this is, I mean, realistically, take this roof off, take it back in the back garden, stick another 2 layers of 300 over the top. Problem is, the bloody thing is so heavy. My son is a bit weak and he ain't capable of carrying that, so I think we're just going to have to roll the damn thing outside. So I think what we'll do, because there's nothing I can do now until my resin has turned up. That's not destined to turn up until Saturday, and to be honest with you, other residents will be out in the open, and the last thing they want is to smell fiberglass. So I think tomorrow, I'm going to just let it get wet because at the moment I just don't care, but I think tomorrow we'll put the plastic sheet over it, my new one, and then Monday or Tuesday or whenever there's a day when there's no wind or rain, I'm going to cover that roof again. I'm going to cut 2 big pieces and I'm literally going to roll both sides over and try. What's happened on that side is where that wood gave out, it split. It took the fiberglass with it. On this side, that awning hasn't been sealed properly inside where the frame is for the awning. And then the drips on the roof are because there's pinprick holes and there's some on that as well, hence the water running down. So I haven't a choice. I can either glass the inside up, which I think is going to be a waste of time because that wood will just constantly get wet. So the roof's going to have to be glassed on the outside whether I want to do it or not, right? The inside, I might get away with doing it, but realistically we're cutting 2 holes out over there anyway for windows, so I don't think I'm going to worry too much about that at the moment, nor am I going to worry about this side. But what I am going to worry about is that edge there. That really does need to be covered. That whole one side, which has got the split wood, is where it's leaking. This side, well, I need to shove this thing over so I can get a ladder there, and I need to put a strip with a lot of resin in there all the way along, and then that'll waterproof that one up. And then, and only then, can I be content. And I've got to put a stress cut over there because, as you can see, it don't fit. It's a little bit on the big side. As we're putting the window in anyway, I was thinking about, but they ain't going to work. So now I've got to put a stress line cut in there, let the 2 halves overlap, and then put a new cut in, and then join them up. Put a piece of plywood behind and join them up. I'll hide that. Ain't so much of a problem. The bit that I'm confused about is this is 300 GM. What that noise was. Anyway, it's 300 GM. I put 300, it's a single 300 on the roof, I think. Did I? I don't think I did actually. No, I didn't. 450. No. Ignore what I've just said. It's 450 up there, 600 on the side. Okay, well anyway, what we're going to have to do, cut some plywood out. We're going to have to prop each wood ceiling up like so it goes to a point. And then we'll just put one big massive bit on the roof that can overhang the edges. Once we've done that, we'll then cut a piece out to go inside there, and then we'll cut a new piece out to go over the top of that. We are going to be extremely busy next bloody week. I thought we were over with fiberglassing. I am sick of the sight of the stuff, but it is what it is, isn't it? Anyway, we've got high winds coming in, so I am going to have to lock this down tomorrow or Saturday regardless. So now that the wood is soaking wet and nothing will stick to it, we'll have to find another way of doing it. Saturated. Ain't nothing sticking to that. All I can do is just add more screws, maybe put a piece of wood all the way around and then screw through the piece of wood to hold this on. If that's what I have to do, then that's what I will do. You want to move, Diesel? Come on. You do this every time, don't you? Come on, shift. Good boy. No, don't you dare go out there. That one. Anyway, cut a long story short to the reason why we're out here. This is leaking like a sieve. I've got water coming in along here. I don't know why. I've got water coming in over there. I've got water coming in from up top there. I mean, you name it, it's leaking every flipping where. So I have one choice really, don't I? I've got to put another layer of glass over it, but I don't think I can do it out here. Oh, and if you look very carefully, there, so very carefully, you can see pinprick holes. There you go. Scattered from place to place because the layers are so blinking thin. So it's going to need another coat, at least another 2 more. I'm now wishing I didn't send that 600 back, because that would have been ideal to put over the top of this. Never mind. That's stuck at the hub in Ipswich. Maybe I should contact them and... Nah, solid. I've got enough in the shed, so we're going to have to put more layers. I am waiting for some more resin to turn up, which I was holding for the windows, but it's now looking like that I'm going to have to use all of that to cover that whole area. So no, we've got more heavy rain and wind coming. I've kind of accepted the fact that it's going to get very wet inside. Kind of look over there, you can see where the water's coming in, over there, over there, over there, and above my head up here as well. In fact, I'm looking at this now, I can see some pinprick holes. So I'm scanning on them in that corner. Can you see them? I don't know if you can see them, but they're there. So yeah, I've got water coming in everywhere. I think what we're going to have to do is lay this on the bench, take the screws out holding that wood on, throw this down on the bench, go over the whole lot, including the walls again, and then put new wood in after, or maybe even partly line it all before I bring it back out. One thing I have got to do though is I've got to make some alterations to here, 'cause it didn't quite fit. So we're too long this way and too long that way. This bit here overhung to there, and I had to cut it to fit there. So I'm going to have to put a relief cut in there, overlap, a relief cut over there, overlap, bring it all in, tie it down, and go from there really. And although it's nice and flat here, it isn't very flat here. So I'm actually wondering whether to do a cut along there as well, overlap it, and then glue it. Glass it. I could do that today, but I'm going to do the video instead because I'm just about sick to the teeth of this thing, and I'll pick this up again tomorrow, make the alterations so as it can be picked up and carried back in the garden. I had to screw a load of battens down late last night because I noticed the wind was blowing in and it was starting to lift it, and I didn't want to give anybody an excuse to claim for a new motorhome because our insurances on this road are high enough as it is. So yeah. So one of the jobs I want to do over the weekend, other than split that fiberglass and relay it all out, is I need to get this garden cleared up, because to get that out safely I need to remove all that lot. I need to remove that. I also need to clear this wood, tidy up, get all the wood chopped that's going to go for the burn ready, and it'd be nice to get the grass back. If I'm honest, I've got to split all that lot down, get all that batten back in there behind here to dry out, so we can reuse all of that for the cupboards. So we've got loads of cupboards to build, and they're not going to get built out of hardboard, just the walls. All that's got to be chopped up, ready for burn. That's got to be chopped up and disposed of because it's got glass fibre on it, can't burn that. And as I say, I've got to make a smoother transition of, well, it's got to go through there, and it ain't going to happen with all this lot in the way. So that's my job for this weekend. Right, we are definitely at the end of this video now, so I would like to say thank you for your views. You're getting the gist of what's going on, but we're not there yet. There's more work to come. That's weighing on me a bit now because I'm trying to get this done before Christmas. We're now something like 4 weeks, 5 weeks away, 4 weeks. No, we're less than that, aren't we? 3 weeks away, something like that. So it would be nice to be able to lock that roof down permanently, get a door built, and then get all the stuff out of the lorry, because after Christmas, in the new year, January, February, I want to get that lorry up for sale and gone, or scrapped. I just haven't really made my mind up yet. I'm having a bit of a hard time accepting all the hard work that's been put into it, only to abandon that the way I have. But the stress levels on that thing are so high at the moment. Insurance policies have gone up, fuel's gone up, labour are not making life very easy for anybody of any social status. So yeah, it's what it is, isn't it? So I'll see you next week. Catch you later. You take care. Bye bye.